Back for week 4 of the Twitter tournament, and Ryan Morgan comes in with a commanding lead on plus 11.75 points. Jack Dawling is currently sat on plus 6.75 points, and Jake is the only other member on a positive note. Dan overall maybe got a little bit unlucky with an SP going off a lot shorter than what his original price was, and Andrew Blair White once again rattling the crossbar. Steve will be hoping for much better, but he has just stuck up a 20-1 shot with a 2-point win on, so he's going for the Hail Mary. Anyway, passing it over to Ryan for this week's episode.
Good evening. We're 2 weeks out from the end of the competition, and I've managed to get my head in front with 2 winners last week. I was going to go for some big prices for these last 2 weeks, but I'm gonna steer clear in the end and play it safe. With the nap and the first bet coming in a big race at Wetherby in the Charlie Hall, and that's at 3:05, and the bet is going to be Shan Blue. Now, Shan Blue hasn't been strong in the market throughout the week. They've been waiting for rain, which I believe is going to come. It looks like Friday and Saturday that rain's going to come there, so that will help him. Tom George's runner will probably need to run. The form's not been that good, so I can rule out Clondor there. And I think Surname is obviously the biggest question mark in the race. Now with Shan Blue himself on the ratings, he doesn't hold his own very much in this race. But over course and distance last year, he ran some very good races, and I just think they probably potentially overran him last year by 1 or 2 runs. So come the spring festivals, I don't think he was himself. He was still jumping well, but he just wasn't travelling as well as he had been previously. Probably obviously against lesser opposition, but he's not. I'm not saying he's a grade 1 horse, but I think this is a weak grade 2. Surname aside, I think he will win this, and if Surname wasn't in this, I think he'd be closer to even money himself, in my opinion. So he's the first bet, 2-point win on Shan Blue, and the second bet comes at Musselburgh in the 2:38, and that is Gaelik Coast. He's had a run this year already, finished behind Who Shot the Sheriff, who's actually running on the Friday the day before, so hopefully he can frank the form of that run. But it's a lot stronger than what any of the others have done in here for a while. Maracuda's been coming down the weights. I think Katie O'Farrell takes the ride there. But I think Gaelik Coast off top weight, good win here. I think they got Dino Boy in here who ran well last time, but he's going to be prepped for a marathon at the end of the year at some point. So I think there's a couple of runners in here who are a bit sketchy, and I think Gaelik Coast should be the favourite. Currently not the favourite. We'll see what happens on the day. The prices are bound to change between now and then. But it'll be 2-point win Shan Blue at Wetherby and a 1-point win Gaelik Coast at Musselburgh. Good luck.
Here we go, another day, another dollar. Bit of a shame I didn't have my video on the last YouTube video, and Willow decided to change both of my selections. I had two 40-1 winners, and he changed them both to a loser and a place. Anyway, let's make amends this weekend. The nap is going to be Eskylane in the 2:15 at Downraw on Saturday. Now, of course, he was 5th in the champion bumper behind Fernie Hollow in 2020. He's still off a mark of 134. He hasn't been able to build on that run, but I'd be very surprised if a mark of 134 doesn't underestimate his ability. He was 4th at Listowel last time out, and that was a very encouraging run. Hopefully he'll be able to build on that, and I think this is a pretty weak race for the grade. So at 6-1 he is at the moment. Hopefully he'll be a good each way price. He's going to be 1 point each way. And the next best is going to be Miss Heritage in the 2:10 at Ascot. She's a 7-year-old now. The last 17 winners of this are all aged between 4 and 6. She's got plenty going against her, but on her penultimate run, she was second to Langadan before Langadan was second in the Martin Pipe. She was second behind Ajero, whatever you want to call him, on the run before that. She's £6 better off today. Hopefully she can go well, and hopefully the heavens will open for the Mud Lover. So she's about 16-1. She's going to be 0.5 points each way. So that's Eskylane, the 1 point each way nap, and Miss Heritage, the 0.5 points each way second best. Good luck.
Hello guys, Jake Price here, and my first selection for this week comes in the 3:20 at Ascot. That's the London Gold Cup, and my selection is Johnbb for Tom Lacey. Now, Johnbb started his season last year at Wetherby in November, where he won first time out in a 2.5 mile handicap off a mark of 130. He travelled really well down the back straight that day, making good headway. And then, as you'll see on Saturday, he did need to be ridden around the home bend, but I think that's just his normal style because he gave generously to Stan Shepherd's urgings. And he took on She Hallia Monroe that day, who's a 138 horse. And he's a really bold and enthusiastic jumper who'd already had a run as well under his belt that day. And yeah, he really put it up to him. He ground him down, and after the last, he went on to score by about 4.5 lengths. So that was a really nice performance to kick off his season. He then came back to the same course and distance on Boxing Day, where he was actually sent off favourite off his new mark of 136. And again, he ran pretty much the exact same race. He made really good progress down the back. He was ridden along round the home bend, and the leader that day, 223, he started to kick on a bit, and you know, Johnbb got into second that day, and it didn't really look like he was going to catch him until suddenly, heading down towards the second last, he started to really pick up and make a bit more of a dent in that gap. And yeah, he started closing, and then he jumped the second last absolutely fine, but just crumbled on landing, so that was the end of obviously that race. But the best piece of form, however, was Johnbb had a bit of a break, came back for Aintree and ran in their 3 mile 1 furlong grade 3 handicap chase at the Aintree Festival, and he ran an absolute stormer. Stepping up to 3 miles, he absolutely loved it. He was able to like stay on the bridle a little bit longer. He still needed pushing along, don't get me wrong, but he really kicked on around the home bend, and at one point heading towards like the second last, it looked like he was gonna like kick on and go. But he came up against Kim Bailey's Happy Go Lucky that day, and he's a 157 horse now after winning that. So obviously that was a really good performance to finish a good second. He stayed at the 3 mile trip perfectly, and he's so unexposed over 3 miles, which is one of the reasons why I like him at Ascot. He was running off a mark of 137 that day. He's now been put up to 140. However, Vindication runs in here off a mark of 158, which is £7 higher than when he won it 2 years ago. I couldn't really be having Vindication here, especially at such a short price. And Johnbb carrying only 10 stone 8 on his back under Stan Shepherd, I think he's got a great chance. So he'll be my first selection. My second selection actually comes in the bumper at Ascot, which is the 505, and it's not really a type of race that I would be getting stuck into. However, I think Anthony Honeyball has got a really good chance here. So as I mentioned in a season preview for the Jump Show, Anthony Honeyball does really well with his bumper horses. And one of the ones that he's got that really excites me is a horse called Firestream. Now, Firestream is really well related. So he's a full brother to Master Debonair and Swinkham Fleet. So Master Debonair, he won a bumper at Sedgefield on his first ever racecourse appearance. He then eventually went on to win a listed race at Cheltenham, a listed bumper at Cheltenham. And then he ran well in the Champion bumper and the Aintree bumper as well. So he was a nice bumper horse. And then Swinkham Fleet, again, she won a bumper for Anthony Honeyball last season. And she placed 4th in a listed mare's bumper afterwards. So again, 2 really nice bumper horses that he's directly related to. Anthony Honeyball does really well at Ascot, so he's had 6 winners from 27 runners, which is a 22% strike rate since 2016, which obviously, you know, rates well. And he's only ever had 3 runners in bumpers at Ascot. 2 of them were Kid Commando, who obviously he's like a 140 horse now, and he's running over fences this season. And the other one was Belle de Monesh, who again was a nice bumper horse for Anthony Honeyball. So he doesn't send that many to Ascot. They're normally only the good ones. I think Firestream might be one of the good ones. He's so well related, and yeah, he will be my second selection.
Right, all our things, hope all's well. Back for another week of this tipping challenge. Last week was head in hands stuff, I won't lie to you. Absolute head in hands. My nap 1 point each way on Coventry. Went off 11-1 and was beaten a short head. Could have been a complete game changer for this competition. Instead, I'm still languishing in mid to low division here. But going to have to keep throwing darts at the board and hope something sticks. And my nap comes in the handicap hurdle at Down Royal, the race before the biggie. Horse I'm going to take to the well this year is ESKYLANE. I think he's a good horse. I think he's well handicapped as well. Has a few notions about the game, but I quite like horses that have a few notions about the game. So I'm a fan of this horse. I do think he'll win a big handicap, big pot at some stage. And he had a blowout run the other day at Listowel. Looked pretty promising. So he's 1 point each way. And then 0.5 point each way in the big race at Ascot, and it comes with the old-timer Regal Encore. Obviously, he's now 13, he mightn't have it left in the tank, but if we're to go off last season, he's still going to have very good place possibilities in this race. Richie McLernan gets on a dream with him. Honeyball's team are a bit in and out at the moment, which would be a little bit of a concern, but this lad seems to just love Ascot. He loves 3 miles around that place and should be able to run a good race. So between himself and ESKYLANE, fingers crossed we might get a winner and can propel us up that table a little bit come the last couple of weeks.
Good evening. Dan Overall here, the world's shittest tipster. And that is almost ratified and confirmed by my recent form, but hey ho, because of recent events and the fact I've agreed to this competition, I'm here at 11:30 on Thursday evening, slightly drunk and very underprepared to give my tips for Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. They probably won't win anyway. So here we are with my nap for Saturday based on limited research. It's going to be in the listed 3-mile handicap at Ascot. And the fact that Vindication is taking up such a chunk of this market is absolutely absurd. He does not deserve to. The rest is fairly exposed types or out of form types who don't deserve to be there. So the exception to that rule, generally, who looks to have a decent winning chance, is Johnbb for Tom Lacey and Stan Shepherd. He won fresh last time out, fresh last season. He ended his season with a very good second to Happy Go Lucky at Aintree over 3 miles. He seems to stay that trip well. He's still very unexposed compared to a lot of these. I can see him running a very good race, and I think 7-8 to 1 is a very fair price, especially because Vindication is taking up such a chunk of that market. The next best is going to come up Wetherby. It's a bit of a punt again, probably end up going off about 7 to 4 based on recent selections. It's going to be Road Warrior in the first. I thought he ran a decent race in the Bow Renton. He shaped quite well from the front for a long way. Rebecca Menzies basically indicated that he was going to need the run anyway, like it wasn't ever going to be there to win. Just needed it as a bit of a blowout. Shaped fairly well. He was rapidly progressive last season. Like, we're not quite sure where his limit is just yet. He's a confirmed front runner. He jumps very well. Not a lot of these in this field. The front two in the market have no chase experience whatsoever. I can see him finding a lot of these out. The rest, other than the front two in the market, again, are very exposed or out of form. Whereas Road Warrior hasn't really deserved to be such a big price for a race like this, considering the opposition to Bobby Renton were in much better form. So I think I can see him going well at a big price. Again, the way I've been tipping this week, probably either going to be shit or go off 6 to 1 and lose. But either way, those are my selections for the weekend.
Steve Ryder here. Both my selections this week coming at Ascot. My nap goes in the 2:10, the London Handicap Hurdle, and it's Global Citizen. You've got to be quite a forgiving mood, having pulled up on his last 3 starts. But actually, if you go back through his previous form, he actually finished second in this race in 2018 off a £3 higher mark. Since then, he's beaten Silver Streak in a Grade 2 at Haydock over hurdles before winning the Grade 2 Wayward Novices Chase at Kempton over fences. He actually ran okay in the county hurdle last time at the Cheltenham Festival and back over hurdles before pulling up late on. Now, the handicapper has remarkably dropped him £8 for that run. Ben Pauling is in a lot better form this season than he was last, and I'll take a chance on him at a big price. Next best is in the 3:20, the London Gold Cup, and it's Regal Encore. Finished second behind Vindication in this race in 2019 before winning it last year off a mark of 145. He has a further 3 course wins on his CV and is now only rated £4 higher than when winning on his reappearance last year. He finished ahead behind Captain Chaos here in February off a £1 higher mark, so this rating definitely isn't beyond him, and I'd take a chance on him in this race once again.